Hey, Ron here. Going to do some analysis here on the S&P 500 and stuff, and going to uh, focus on the subject of uncertainty, why there's uncertainty now, and what I do with it in that kind of a situation. Okay, so this is a real-time situation, and uh, hope it gets you a lot of insight and a lot of information. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Matthew, who sent me an email, and let's see, that was my response to him. And he mentioned that yes, there were several lines coming in near the highs yesterday. Is about yesterday in the ES. Also took profits and da 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 da. And then he talks about how things are going down. So what Matthew has just recently purchased what's called the advanced course, the expand not he's had the advanced course for years, but he's recently got himself hands on the expanded course, which is kind of like the advanced course is kind of like your bachelor's degree, and then you go for a master's or something with the expanded course, and it's a lot of information, it's a lot of videos and stuff like that, and so that happens. And so what happens is Matthew yesterday sent me a chart, and he drew the chart and says, "Hey, is this right here?" And I said, "Yep." And it picked off the highs rather nicely. Now, if you look at the videos yesterday, what happened was in the video yesterday you saw this here, and the prices were about here, and I said, "Hey, I'm going long. There's a day trade for me. I'll be out by the end of the day." Okay, and I'll tell you why. One of the reasons why I definitely wanted to be out by the end of the day, and obviously if I went long in this area here and just stayed in for several hours, these are hourly charts, it was very hard to not make a profit on this trade. Okay, and I picked a certain value where prices would go to, and Matthew drew some lines, and where he drew the lines came in incredibly at the value, and it was just congratulations, Matthew. And so uh, anyway, let me tell you what's going on now, and there's kind of uncertainty here, and I'm going to give you some market forecasts, and I'll give you the logic as to why, and understanding as to what Andrews would probably say in this kind of situation, or what he might be looking at, or what I look at using the Andrews concepts. Okay, so what we have here is we had the market came down and now went up for 1, 2, 3 moves up, and so as I look at this, what do I look at? Well, one of the things I'll do is I will first start with the much bigger picture. And in starting with a much bigger picture, let's see what I can do with that. Let's look at SPY. And let's do this. Boom. Okay, here's an SPY chart, and I'm going to have to redo this in a second because it's going to mess up. Give you a lot of junk on there that you really probably don't need to see. Just a lot of junk. Here we go. Let's do it again. Okay, there we are. Okay, so I look at this chart here, and I can see on a monthly chart, and this was the high. And so what happened is prices. Okay, it's roughly drawn. It's good enough. It'll communicate the concept. What prices did is from the high, they went and they zoomed down, and then they went back, and in theory now there's a pretty good shot that they will go further in the original direction. So further than this point here. Okay, and that's the theory. And okay, and then there's some other thing. There's a whole bunch of things up here that you could, a whole bunch of lines and stuff and analysis that you can do using the advanced course methods that would indicate to you that there's a good shot that this would happen. Okay, and no guarantees, just a good shot that that would happen. And so let's move on to weekly charts, and we're going to get lambasted again with this stuff. Okay, let's well, weekly, let's move on to daily. Let's just go to daily. Well, we can see with a weekly chart that prices just went right up to the median line. Okay, so let's go to daily. Here we go, here we go. Yeah, we can see using the daily MLs that prices went right up to here. Now, the theory is that, and Andrews talked about this, he said, well, you know, pretty much when prices move in one direction, they pretty much move, you pretty much get 5 pivots in one direction, okay, or more, right? And so you look here and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, they made 5 pivots. But sometimes those pivots will be hidden inside of the weekly ranges, for example. So what happens is that on your daily chart, right, you pick this up and you go, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you have 5 pivots going that way. Gee whiz. So in theory now, if that's the case, all right, then in theory this could now be on a monthly 0, 1, 2, and then down for a 3. Okay, and if we go down for a 3 of some kind, well, how far would a 3 go? That'd be one question I'd want to ask. Say, well, the next target for a 3 would initially, let's see, if this was a third wave, it kind of, well, one of the places it would go past this median line and probably start heading for this far line down here. Okay, and that would be one immediate guess, and then another immediate guess is that it would take it to the next level, and if this is truly what's going on, and if things start going fast, and I don't know if they will or not, but we'll see, then this would be the target down here. That'd be your median line, and of course you would do your further analysis, those of you that are students of mine, with the course techniques that you get. You wouldn't stay at this simple level, and what you'll find is that this is here, right down here, is probably a really good place for a target and a really good place for prices to hang for a while. The question is how long would this take? Well, if it went really fast, it would do so within 6 months, and for the market to go from 120 to 60, which is a 50% discount within 6 months, is very unusual. But this kind of moves do happen, and so something nasty like this would have to occur, which is rather unusual in the time period that's coming up, which I'll discuss with course members. So there's a lot of people who will be thinking that this would be a really normal target, and then there's that would look at this. Now there is the vast majority of pros that would argue that this would not happen because it's the third year in a presidential cycle, and that normally doesn't happen in the third year of a presidential cycle. So being that we don't use the third year of a presidential cycle, or whether or not the moon is in Uranus or any of those other things, but we're just looking at good old Andrews tools, what we're looking at is that one possibility is some kind of a down move. And if that is occurring, then that means that this is here we've had 5 up, and we're going down for a 1, up for a 2, and then down for 3, 4, 5, and it would really depend on what happens in this five wave structure here, or this down move here. Okay, so as the market goes up and down here, we'll keep an eye on what happens, and it'll really help us understand and be able to forecast better what happens down the road, whether or not prices are going to go down to 60, or let's take the converse of that, that they're not going down to 60. If they're not going down to 60, then what are they likely to do? Well, they're probably likely to try to come down a little bit and then just keep on trucking, and eventually come up to the 150 area here. That sometimes next year going up to the 150 area would probably be normal, using further analysis on this. Now, will it go to 150 or 160? Heck, I don't know if the moon is in Uranus or not. Another irrelevant material. So what I do is I keep an eye on the short term. And by simply being on the right side of the market in the short term, I think I have a better chance at the long term. Okay, so and that's kind of like walking through the woods on a trail. That's kind of, who knows, if you keep an eye on the short term in terms of that you do well in walking on the trail, that in the long term you'll have a better chance at getting to wherever it is you want to go along that trail. So that's the idea. Take it one step at a time, and the step we're in right now is what could be a 1 and some kind of a 2 and then some kind of a 3. That's what it could be, and it could also be that, remember, since Andrews counts gaps as 5 pivots, that we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that we already have 5 pivots down, and that we're going up now for another nice move to the upside. It could be the other way too. So sometimes you have that. Now, so how do you deal with that kind of stuff? Well, that kind of uncertainty. Well, what you want to do is you want to have close by stops, and you want to get in as close to the turn as possible. And so this way you don't risk too much, because this is risky stuff. And if you can get into the turn fairly quickly and as close as possible to the pivot points, then you're in, and your stops are not too far away, then you're risking less. Okay, so that's the name of the game, is to risk less, and you do that by increasing your skills. And in addition to increasing your skills, you got to do your analysis pretty much on a daily basis. Okay, and once in a while intraday, and that'll help you out. And that's really how it's done. Okay, so this is the situation I see right now. This is my guesstimate as to what would happen down the road. It's 150 or 60. Either of those are possibilities, or then other things in between. For all I know, a year from now it could be 130 and just have gone nowhere. But I won't know that with a higher degree of certainty until I have more information, which really takes a lot of time. Okay, so I thank you for your time, and if you'd like to take the course and get more insight into some of this stuff, then come on over to andrewscourse.com, and we'll see you there. Okay, thank you. Bye.